I guess my favorite experience with UFO related phenomena in Utah is what I call catch and release rock. And I owned a mobile home park and campground, and this guy came up to me and said, "You're Ron Regehr, you're the UFO guy." Well, he was one of my tenants. He knew exactly what was going on. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you got to go out to Gooseneck area, and there's this UFO on a rock, a petroglyph." He says, "It's rock all by itself. You take this dirt road, it's off to the right about a mile into the canyon. It's all by itself, you can't miss it." So I got a friend of mine and we went down there. And as we're driving down, we stopped at 1 mile and it's weeds. There's no rocks at all. You know, we can see rocks on the cliffs several miles away, but where we are, there's not even any small rocks. All we can see is the desert scrub. 1 mile. Maybe we're on the wrong road. Those of you familiar with Utah and the back areas, imagine getting one of those 12 by 12 inch panes of glass and holding it about a foot above the sidewalk and dropping it. The resultant cracks are about like the dirt roads are in many areas. And so when he says take the dirt road, doesn't give me very much information. Anyway, so we go on and pretty soon we start seeing big rocks. We scamper out around every big rock and there are no petroglyphs. I go to one big rock, my lady goes over to another big rock. It's closer, she looks at that. I'm standing there looking and I can hear voices on the other side around the corner of the rock. You know, it's sort of like when you're in a cheap motel room or at a party and you can hear somebody talking or the TV next door. You can't understand what they're saying, but you know there's conversation. That's the way it was. So I go around the corner, figure, they'll know where the petroglyphs are. There's nobody there. It's a beautiful alcove, sandy bottom. There's nobody there. So just as I'm wondering what's going on, I hear this laughter of 2 guys laughing. So ha 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 ha, crazy. So I go around the corner again expecting to find them, but now I've gone, this side I saw going up, this side when I was there, this side over here, I'm over here, I've gone around the whole rock. So I go back and I asked my lady, where did those guys go? She said, there wasn't anybody there. Kind of spooky. So we go up, we checked out maybe 50 rocks. Finally, we go through the gate into Gooseneck State Park, and about another 200 yards up the road on the right-hand side, there's this big boulder. And on the front of it, it has a petroglyph of a UFO, a Patuvota, which is a Hopi word for flying shield, and a man with birds on it and deer footprints with their dew claws showing. Now the man is alert because his ears are up. The birds are flying, which means they're fleeing, and the dew claws of the deer are showing, and they only show when the deer is running. So that tells me he's running from this UFO and he's scared of it. Well, you go up to the next panel, and there's a beautiful petroglyph of a flying reptile taking the man. The man has got no hands, meaning he can't fight off what's going on. He's got no feet, which means he can't run, and his shoulders are slumped in a defeated attitude. And so he's carried away that tells me he's being carried away by this flying reptile. Then we go to the next panel. There's a big coming down symbol and it's closed, which means we didn't come down, we couldn't get down. And there's a snake blocking the path between him and the coming down. Then above it there's a coming down symbol that's open, pointing towards him, and he's there holding hands with a star person that's not quite there physically. So here's a story about a guy that fled from a UFO, was captured by maybe the occupants, and was returned by a star person. All on one rock. Fantastic. And that's catch and release. But on the same trip, we went up another maybe mile and a half, and there's this beautiful panel, maybe 20 foot by 10 foot tall, of bodies and torsos of people with duck heads. And a couple of those and some other. And so we took pictures of those cliffs, and then we were ready to go. I went back down to the car, and I am starting down the trail, and I have this strong feeling I've got to go around this one rock because there's another glyph there. I get around the corner of that rock, and there's this little bullhead. Looks fresh. And these two guys, the same two voices, I swear, laughing, like, made you look. That's the end of the story.
That is so awesome. I love it. Why do you think Utah's such a unique place?
The entire Southwest, this four-corner area, is a unique place. I firmly believe that when the end of this world comes, which is the end of the fourth world for the Pueblo people, they're here for a reason. Masao, or their god, wants them to be here where they have been protected between first and second world, second and third worlds, and now third and fourth world, of which we're in the fourth world. They're here for a reason, for protection. And so the indicators are all that they've been here for thousands of years. And when the next world shifts from fourth world to fifth world, they'll be here, they'll be protected, and they will be the progenitors for the next generation of people.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And I just have to really quick, I know you're probably dying of heat, but you know the panel up with watchers.
Sago Canyon? Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and what that's doing with regard to the Skinwalker Ranch area?
Okay, there's a big panel, this famous panel in Sago Canyon, pictographs. 19 figures that are range in life-size proportions. They're looking across the canyon, and it's important when you're ever looking at panels, turn around and look and see what the panel is observing. There's another in Bartlett Wash. The panel there is looking straight at a feature called Jug Rock, which is the only place in 20 miles where water is stored by rainwater. So if you look over there where the panel's looking and go over there, you'll find water. I think the ancients knew that. Anyway, Sago Canyon, they're looking across the canyon at a family of red beings. They're the ones in Sago on the other side, the guardians, are reds and oranges and purples. Very nice. These are not nice. And one of them behind a rock epitomizes evil. When you look at him, you know he's bad juju. You don't want to hang around with that guy. But then you go around the corner, and there's a big pictograph there of a guy holding a datura bud, and he's surrounded by dots, which indicates spiritual control. So I'm looking at him, and I'm trying to put that together. I still read glyphs at Dick and Jane level. I'm not to where I'm reading encyclopedias or anything. So I'm trying to figure this one out later on, and I never did on my own. I went there with my friend Cliff Mahooty, who's a Zuni elder, and he says, "Oh, there's a medicine man." It makes sense. The medicine man has got this witch under spiritual control. And Cliff said, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" Okay. I'm reading what it says. I didn't put the two together.
Right.
Now, the significance of this is, if you go up Sago Canyon, you go into the Ute Reservation. When you drop down on the other side, you're in the Uinta Basin, which is where, to this day, the Skinwalker still roams and does his nasty deeds. And the Skinwalker Ranch is made famous by the antics that were reported there at the ranch.
You rock. Thank you.